Ducks are similar to wooden boats in some ways. Things can look calm on the surface, but there's a whole lot going on underneath. We took Moonlight in a race once. We had never been in a sailing race before. Of course, we made lots of mistakes, and we managed to embarrass ourselves several times. But it was fun, and we managed to come fourth out of a fleet of 5 in the final race of the day. Everyone won a prize, and I still have that bottle of rum. By nature, I'm an impatient kind of person. On the 11th of September 2020, it will be 40 years to the day since we launched Moonlight in the Trevallyn Dam. There's nothing about building a wooden boat that can be rushed. Every once in a while, after planing, shaping and fitting planks, the fibres of the wood let go with a resounding crack, sending you back to the stockpile for a replacement. Building a wooden boat prepares you well for a saga where 11 children and 6 adults in 4 wooden boats, followed by a little wooden tender, set out down the east coast of Tasmania, heading down the Freycinet Peninsula to camp at one of the beaches at the southern end. Lake St Clair in central Tasmania is best appreciated at a leisurely pace. Mount Olympus glides by to the west of us on the way to Narcissus Bay at the northern end of the lake. 10 years ago, we loaded Moonlight into a shipping container and moved north to the southeastern corner of Queensland. From there, we've been able to explore many of the beautiful waterways of the east coast of Australia. I don't often get to row Moonlight. Usually I'm either motoring or sailing. But there's an interesting story behind this rollock blocks positioned towards the stern. I put a second set in, which is the same as the original that I copied her from. When I took the boat around to show John, my mentor, he said, "Why did you put those 2 rollock blocks in there?" "Well, John, I did that because you did." He said, "Oh, I did that because it was a scout boat, and we often used to have several young kids in the boat, and we needed the 2 rowing positions." Whenever I'm on the water, I seem to be being overtaken by one form of watercraft or another. These jet ski guys are having a fantastic time down the southern end of the Pumicestone Passage, heading towards Moreton Bay. Cruising in Moonlight is often a test of Denise's patience as she waits for interminable lengths of time. We're heading out over the Great Sandy Strait on quite a gusty and windy day, once again being overtaken by all kinds of faster things. We sat out a squall of about 30 knots that came through just on the way out of Urangan. Round Island is a popular destination for dive cruises, and it sits about halfway between Urangan and Big Woody Island. We managed to make the first leg of the journey with the full mainsail and jib. We anchored for lunch in the lee of Round Island and took the deck chairs ashore for a picnic lunch on the beach. But once we departed Round Island for the second half of the journey to Big Woody Island, the breeze soon picked up again and we found ourselves reefing the main. discovered that the northwestern end of Great Woody Island is very shallow, with coral reaching out a kilometre or more towards the west, so we weren't able to land on the island as we'd planned. So with squalls approaching from the south, we decided to beat a hasty retreat back to the mainland, where we stayed overnight. I was definitely a bit nervous about that squall coming in from the south as we were heading into Urangan harbour. When you reef the main on a gunter rig, you end up with something that looks more like a gaff rig, which just spills all that excess wind out of the top of the sail quite nicely. It was time to start up the little Honda inboard so that we could arrive before the squall hit. The following morning we relaunched at Urangan and headed across Great Sandy Strait to a little spot which had been an old logging camp and at one time a commando training area just south of the Kingfisher Resort on Fraser Island. We sailed in the company of Leif Jorgensen and Peter Ball. They both sailed very courageously in mirror dinghies which they had restored. We made landfall just south of Kingfisher Resort. You can see the remains of the jetty that was part of the logging activity that went on at this site following the Second World War. We've had some amazing adventures in Moonlight in her 4 decades, but I have a very strong sense that the saga of Moonlight has only just begun.